Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me for another episode today. This is going to be a look at some early 50s Bowman baseball cards. So going to kind of continue the rummage that I started a few episodes back where we looked at some 50 and 51 Bowman baseball commons. And in today's installment, just going to look at some from the 1952 release. Mentioned in that last video that 50 through 52 represent my absolute favorite Bowman baseball cards. They all look very similar those 3 years with kind of slight differences from year to year. Just absolutely adore these little works of art. So I have only shown to date this one 52 Bowman on the channel as far as I can tell, which is a Del Ennis that came from ComC, I want to say, and showed that probably in a ComC Rummage video at some point in time. So it's high time that I show off some others. Do have quite a few from this release. It's probably my favorite of the three from 50 through 52, just because of the larger size cards and the facsimile signature on the front rather than the box, the name box in the 51 release. So have a baker's dozen of these to cover today, 13 more to add with Del Ennis, and we're just going to kind of look through them and appreciate them for the little works of art that they are. So here's Sam Meal or Melee, not really sure. I think it's Meal, but what I like about this one, he's got a rocking his tattoo here. So you don't see a lot of tattoos on baseball cards from the 1950s. Pretty neat. And of course, nice to pull or have a Washington Senators card as well. Love those forgotten teams or teams of yesteryear. Here's another Philly to join Del Ennis. And this is Granville Hammer, Granny Hammer. And I love like the lone player in the background here. Great stadium backdrop. Love the pose. And here's a look at the back. Most of these are very, very clean on the back, just like this hammer. I'm not going to show all of them on the reverse, just in the interest of keeping this video a little bit shorter, hopefully. But we'll put Granny right up there next to Del Ennis since they were teammates at the time. And actually, here's another Phillies player, as a matter of fact. Emory Church. Pretty cool card there. This one has registration that is slightly off. I don't know how much it'll come across on video, but one of the things to look out for with early 50s Bowman baseball in particular is print registration. And you can see like the Granny Hammer on the right here is a very sharp card. The lines are very sharp and distinct. It looks very clear and in focus. Whereas this one here of Emery on the left is a little bit blurred, and that's because the print registration was just slightly off. So definitely something to look out for, especially if you're buying, high-end or expensive 50s Bowman baseball, Hall of Famers or slabbed cards. There is definitely a very big difference in print registration. So keep an eye out for like fuzzy images if that kind of thing drives you nuts. Here's one of my favorite images from the entire set. Gil Cone, again, of the Washington Senators. I love the horizontal layout, post swing here, and of course that great like purplish kind of sky. Just really nice, painting that reminds you of a summer evening and kind of gets you in the mood for baseball. So always like that one. Pretty sure I picked up that copy for the criminally low cost of like $2. Again, a lot of these came from ComC. Maybe a couple from eBay, but definitely didn't pay more than a couple of dollars each for these over the years. I think this was the most expensive, if I recall, of the ones that we're looking at today. This is Clyde King, and he carries a premium just simply because he's on the Brooklyn Dodgers, which I get. They are kind of my favorite 50s team other than the Red Sox to collect cards of, and just like with the New York Yankees, you will typically pay a little bit of a premium simply for the fact that a player is on the Brooklyn Dodgers, but love the artwork on that one. Again, another great outfield fence there and a nice look at the Brooklyn Dodgers uniform of the day. Here's Hank Majeski, whoops, as I almost drop it here, the Philadelphia Athletics. A nice catching pose there. Not one of the more exciting backgrounds available in the release, but a nice enough card. There aren't any of these that I wouldn't gladly add to my collection at the right price. Next up, we have a Red Sox player here, Randy Gumpert. Pretty nice shot. Have probably more Red Sox from this release than any other team, just because I was a Red Sox team collector for many years, and I guess still am to to an extent, but I wish that Ultra Pro or somebody, this is off topic, but would make top loaders for these Bowman baseball cards specifically, because it's very hard to keep them centered. They tend to slide from side to side, so not a great way to protect and store these that I'm aware of. So standard size top loader with a little bit of wiggle room is the best I've been able to do. If anybody knows anything, definitely let me know in the comments, but don't believe they have storage that's uniquely for these cards. But here's Bill White, another Red Sox pitcher. I believe he was a pitcher. Yep, 7-7 in 1951. Pretty neat. I don't actually know, this is part of the reason I'm organizing my collection. I don't actually know exactly how many 1952 Bowman cards I have, so trying to get my hands around that and get things a little better organized here. Here's another Red Sox pitcher, Ray Scarborough. Neat one there. We'll look at the back since we haven't seen too many of these. This one is one of the few that has some wax damage along the top. But overall, this is all I care about. I don't mind wax damage on the back of my 50s Bowman cards, as long as the front looks nice and clean. And these are all really, really nice examples that didn't break the bank. Here's Herm Weimeyer. Might be mispronouncing that, but kind of a funny facial expression here on Herm, the Cincinnati Redlegs. And then this is probably my favorite of today's bunch. So this is Fred Hatfield of the Boston Red Sox. And the reason that I love this one is, unlike all of the other cards that we've just looked at and the couple that I have still to come here, I've had this one since I was a little kid. So I've mentioned many times that a 1950 Maurice McDermott Bowman card was the first like truly vintage card that I ever owned. Well, this Fred Hatfield followed right on the heels of that. I got this at the same antique store where I got the McDermott, probably only a weekend or two later. Was able to pick up this Fred Hatfield along with Harry Brecheen of the Cardinals. I still have the Brecheen card around here somewhere as well. Just wasn't in the stack that I pulled for today's video. But that one has a place of kind of special importance in my collection, just because it does remind me of, you know, picking up those very first Bowman baseball cards way back in the day with my father and brothers. And those trips and those vintage cards were kind of a big part of what ignited my passion for collecting that still exists, you know, to this day, 30 plus years later. So pretty cool. Here's a Dutch Leonard of the Cubs. We have just two more left here. Dutch Leonard, then one other Red Sox player. So nice shot there of Dutch. And again, a lot of these, for whatever reason, seem to have that green stadium backdrop today, but there are a wide variety of different backgrounds on these paintings. And then the final card in today's video is another Red Sox player, and a very good one at that, Walt Dropo. And picked this one up at a local hobby shop when I first got back into the hobby as an adult. This was probably all the way back in 2007. Paid $10 for this raw Dropo card and still have it to this day as part of the 52 Bowman collection. So that's a wrap. Just wanted to take a look at a baker's dozen from 1952 Bowman today. Certainly appreciate you stopping by to check these beauties out, and I will be back in the very near future with some more sports card content. Until then, take care, everybody.